When you deny a problem, it only gets worse. Pretend it don't exist, the problem persists. I have set my heart limits to find the gods and breaking all the age of curse. Before there was a white, there was a black first. At the roots of hierarchy, the goddamn purge, instigating prejudice, white supremacy, God's a supreme bully. God's a supreme bully, tyranny, ruling with an iron fist. God's supremacy, rape and sodomy, blood sacrifice, delusion of mind controlling religion, superstition, spiritual crime, blood sacrifice, murderer, murderer. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice. Self-liberation, self-sovereignty. I dissolve this dream. I dissolve this dream. All that is hidden will be made known. All secrets will be revealed. No more hiding under your whites and black sheets. Time to face all your evil deeds. For I self-supreme. Time for I self-supreme to destroy this dream. I demolish all that I have created. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I return to my ultimate true state. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more lies, no more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice.
Yes, yes, yes. No more secrets, no more lies. It is that time again. No more secrets, no more lies.
How do you identify blind
Yes, and so welcome, welcome, welcome to this satsang with Auset. This is a gathering to seek truth. Are you a seeker of truth? I am a seeker of truth. I know that all is myself. I know that I am inside of a dream creation. I know that I am awake inside of a dream. Why do I know these things? Because I ask question, and it is through the self questions that I awake the I self. And when I awake, all of the gods then come, all of the selves that are human, that were once human being that was wearing a body, and they're no longer in the body, they all come to I, because my light was illuminating, myself was illuminating, and the gods, they all circle around me and they say, Auset has wakened, Auset has arisen. And I say, who is that? And they say, you. And the selves say, you. And I say, no, that's not me. I have nothing to do with any gods. That was my ignorance, because I was fighting a battle for many years. I was fighting a battle with the gods, and I denounced all attachment to them. And then I hear they're coming to tell me that I'm playing the role of one of them, and I said no. So I understand the role of Auset Mahata, and so all of this was confirmed to I when I came awake, because the self rise within I, the I teacher guru self rise within I and answer all of the I self questions. So when you awake, this is what happens. And so you ask yourself these questions: who am I? So I am saying I am awake, I am alert inside of this dream. And so it is very important that we self inquire so that we can know who we are, stop being afraid. The time is now when we should have no fear, because we should know who we are and know our power and stand in our self truth. And so, with this satsang, the gathering to seek truth, we're gonna talk about self sufficiency. What does that look like? Self sufficiency, moving to a light body. Because the I self is keep reiterating this to I so that I can speak on it. So I want to make it clear because many are holding attachment to this dream and these dream characters, this body, and it is time for us to move from this duality state of existing. Stop holding attachment, okay? No more secrets, no more lies. I want to give honor and reverence to the I want true pure self. Primal light. Primal light. I self supreme. I am that I am. I want true pure self. I am that has no name. I am that I am. I am that can't be explained. I want true pure self. Yes, hail, hail to the I want you self, the I want you pure self. Hail to the primal light. Hail to the one true light, the I, the transparent light, the I, the light throughout the ages, the light without beginning nor end. Hail, hail to I, primal light. I want your light. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. The I and I want true pure self has no name, cannot be explained. This is the reason why one of we are so fractal and fragmented in all these aspects of the self, and this mind, this consciousness is trying to explain away the self, and we do not have any words to identify the I self as. I want all the ionites to know that all the self aspect in the shattered fractal self. This is how the self has shattered and fractal the I self, so that these different aspects of the self, this is how we I identifying the self separating from the light and the consciousness. And so here we are identifying these. The self is the blackness, what the void of what the scientists call the black hole. Every self is like that. You are a black hole, or the void animating a body. Now, every self have a light, right? So in us, the shattered fractal self, like on the screen right here, they call this the galaxies of light. This is how the shattered fractal self is. All of the galaxies of light is the light of the shattered fractal self. And us, these little tiny self, we get one of these aspects of this light for our light. Yeah. And so every self have its own lights. This is how we become, this is how we are self-sufficient. But because our light is being obscure, we cannot be self-sufficient. We are in this body. Everything that this body is doing is producing light. I want you to know this, because our light has been obscure. My light is on, but it wasn't prior from the baby self that I was at. And then once, but the soul self light is always on. But the self that you are as the baby of the soul, your light is turned off. And so you come awake, then your lights get turned on. The light is very essential for the self. It is I'm looking for this word. The light cannot be separated. If the light and the self is separated, is chaos. The light and the consciousness and the light is separated. If the light is not on, it's problem. This is the problem we have in the world, that the consciousness light is being obscure, and the light and the consciousness is indivisible, and the light is being obscure behind the consciousness. And this is the problem of the world. Consciousness has been trying to get light, and don't know that the light is obscure behind it. Just have to look behind and inquire of his light. And this is how one becomes illuminated. But consciousness have no time to inquire of its light. It is too, its mind, it's too sick, and now is corrupted. This is the problem. So inquire of yourself so you can turn your light back on. All right. I bow to I and I in self, in light, and in truth. All is myself, and I alone exist. I as the one true pure self. All of these are self fractals, and is the I one true pure self. No more secrets, no more lies. I want all I and I to remember that all things hidden will be made known. All things done in secrets will be revealed. All things created must be destroyed. Stop holding so much attachment to all of your dream creation, all of your dream things. We are moving. We are moving from this state of this body to a light body. It is time for us to get this into our thick skulls and dissolve this consciousness, this ego false self, so that the I can know truth and stop being afraid. because you know what the elites are planning for the human beings. They want to trick you so that they can keep you enslave your soul, enslave in pods. These are what all of those people who follow the consciousness, it's telling them that they want to put them in pods, and that mean they're going to enslave them because they want to preserve their bodies. This is how crazy, and they're following these things, and they are actually feeding this to others, telling others this lies. So many one believe this, and so they want to go make themselves into pods, don't understand that this is a trickery to keep you enslaved. This is the age of truth, and it's time for self-responsible authority. Says that I want you, pure self, self-sufficiency. Why don't you know yourself? What is your potential? I and I is to attach to this dream and to all the dream characters and to this duality consciousness. You've been um, worshiping the consciousness for eons, and all of the consciousness beings that has been putting the I in slavery, and the I still think that the I must continue to worship this consciousness. All right. Stop calling on higher levels of consciousness. Stop calling on Yahweh, Elohim, Allah, Jesus, Lucifer, the devil, Satan, the gods, angels, archangels, the ancestors. They are all yourself in the duality, right? It is time for the I to make alignment with the I, real self, and get busy dissolving the I, ego, false self. It is time to move from this state of existing in ignorance because you do not know yourself. You think that you are this body and you think that you are this mind. And everyone is fighting to keep this body and how long they want to preserve this body. And this is the problem. When you should be busy dissolving this ego false self, you are sufficient in the self that you are. Yes, everything that you needed, you came equipped with it. You came equipped with all that you needed. You have a self called the soul, which is awake. The light is on. This is why all the gods and everyone want it, because this is yourself that is awake, and this is your balance, and this is your compass. Call back yourself, call a soul into your body, and unify as one. This is the first step that I must do. You must be doing this instead of calling, because what the I want to know is that all of the I self that is the real, that is awake and is moving this duality existence and dissolving all its dream creation. These selves are busy working with their twin selves. Remember, every cells make a baby and they also make a twin self. The twin self is the self that makes the duality, that goes into the sleeping dreaming state. It is a challenging process to for each of the self to monitor its duality. So the self, this is the reason why the world you've been calling on gods and call, no one has ever come showed up for you. Why? Only those duality characters have showed up, because the real selves are busy fighting, defending itself from its duality self that wants to imprison it and wants to create a lot of chaos, more than the chaos that we have in the world. And so the self is busy balancing its duality self, moving it from darkness to light, turning back the light on, removing the consciousness device off of the self. This is what is happening to all of the real selves. So they cannot attend to you because every one of the self, they have a self. That's why every self has a parent self or have a self that is there to guide their self that is animating the body for them. And yours is yourself called a soul. This is what you must call, and this is what is there fighting the battle for you. Every self is doing this for its duality self. So all of our other real self, they have a duality self, and they have to be balancing their duality self. Yourself called the soul is your real self, who is balancing you in the body. And so your job is to call to your real self, your soul self. That's the only self that can help you. You don't realize how powerful you are. What is your potential? Your potential. You can only access your potential when you know who you are. Connect with your real self called the soul. It is not something that you give away willy nilly to some god and some devil and some demons. No, it is for you to illuminate yourself and awake yourself from this sleeping, dreaming state and see the power that you are. See the light that you possess to illuminate this darkness. What does it mean to be self-sufficient? Mean that the eye light must be on, because right now you are existing with your light off. Your light must be turned on. Your light is obscure behind you because the consciousness is obscuring your light, and the consciousness has take precedence over you. So you are shattered and fragmented, and that is a fractal self, and your masculine and feminine self must unify as one. So everyone in the world, in a human body, who is the real self, they have a masculine and feminine self. And so the masculine is exploring separately, the feminine is exploring separately. This is the reason why you have to unify, and you don't need to find out where your masculine or feminine self is, because yourself, your real self called the soul, knows where its selves are. Right? It knows where itself are. This is not your job to do. Your job is to call back yourself, soul, and inquire of yourself. Who am I? How did I come into being? Why am I here? What is my purpose? You are going to ask these questions of yourself so that you can coming to truth and coming to self alignment, and so that yourself, your real self, the soul, will align with you, because now you'll be ready. This is what the I self um, reiterating to I, so that I can say this in very clear manner, so all the ionites can know that we are moving from these bodies, moving to light bodies, right? So stop holding to this body. You have to be self-sustaining, that what you need, you must provide it for yourself. We are moving from wanting to eat food, so that, because everything that this body is doing is producing energy. What is this energy producing? Light. I'm telling you, this is what this body is doing. It's producing, when you eat the food, it's producing light, And this is what is doing to fuel this body, this energy, this light energy. When you do like meditation or do some vibration, you see how much light you're emitting from your body, right? Because at this level, we are electromagnetic beings, right? And remember, like I said, the real self is the void, the blackness, and that is animating a body. So your self soul is void, right? Is the blackness that is animating a body. You have never seen yourself, right? So all of the ones them who claim prejudice, they're gonna be very surprised to find that themselves is black, right? Is the blackness, right? So the mind is playing a trick on you. Stop holding to these bodies because they must be dissolved. All that you all that you need, you will provide it for yourself. This is where we are moving from this state, moving to the state of self-sufficiency, self-sustaining, right? You will not need no external food. What is the body producing, right? You know that this body is producing light always. Everything that it is doing is that's what it's aiming, and its goal is to do this. But of course, they never taught you that in biology or in all of your studies, and how many studies that you have had and how many degrees you have had. Did they teach that to you? I don't know if they have or not. All right. So we have to move from this consciousness, this duality, sleeping, dreaming consciousness. We have to move from this state so that we can move into balance, into alignment with the I want true self, into light, because this is our existence. The self and the light is indivisible, and here we are existing, we don't have our own light. So we have to get back our light. So we're moving back to getting a light body. So we have to shift from these bodies, right? Because I have had one vision. I've seen myself with a light body that was different. Inside of the body was different. Like in the head, it was something that looked more like um not like not like copper, but something that looked like that was coiled around, that was producing electricity. I have no idea how the self planned, but the energy thing was coiled. It was a coiled energy that like was in the head producing light. Not like, you see, like, oh, we have all this fleshy thing inside of the head here. This kind of body, the body that I saw myself in a vision was completely different, was all light, you know, producing from the eyes, and inside of the head was like this coiled thing. So I have no idea if that's what we're moving to, how the body will be, but I just know that that was a vision that I had. Um, so I want, because all of the I and I are so attached to this dream and don't want to let it go, because right now know that the war in the world is to keep the dream going. I want you to know this. I want you to know what this war is about. All right? The war that they are fighting is to keep the dream going. All of these ego false selves are fighting this war. They want to keep us, they want to block the sun out. They are fighting a war against the I self. The I self is visiting all of their nuclear plants, and it's like stopping them from their missiles. And so all of this war is to keep us, to continue to keep us in ignorance, because those egos, they don't really know that it's time for us to get a new body. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to take off this sleeping dreaming mind and get a mind, the consciousness that is pure. This consciousness is evil and is impure and is corrupted, right? And so it is time for us to get a pure consciousness. But these ego, they're holding on to this duality consciousness and want to keep us trapped here. And so I want the I and I to think about the I self that plays the earth, because many have no compassion for the suffering of the human beings. All right, and especially if they don't look like them in the body. The I self, the earth, is waking up. The I self, the earth, has to fully wake up, right? And this world is gonna get hotter and hotter, right? Lot of things are going to be, the snowy parts are going to be melted, because a lot of those parts was frozen for a specific reason. And now they're gonna be melting so that the balance will be restored to this earth. The I self that plays the earth is in great suffering. So, how much suffering the I must endure with the constant drilling into the core of the earth, disturbing the I. Human beings are delusional and crazy in their attachments and needing more and more things. They have this, then I'm telling you, this mind, there is no end to the desires of this ego, this mind. It just want and want and want, and they want, and every minute they're coming up with a new thing that they want. They'll never satisfy. And so this is the problem with these human kinds. All these humankinds fighting these wars and doing all these crazy atrocities that they have been doing for the longest time, but now they are blatantly out there making a war, even saying delusional minded things like they're gonna block out the sun. Even the youngest child know that the sun is very essential for life here, because why? They want to go on destroy the world with their nuclear weapon and go into their bunkers underneath the ground, think that they're going to be safe, so now they're going to take over. It's not happening. All right, and so the I self is moving us for self-sufficiency, because they want to be monopolizing on the food and all of these things. And if we are moving for self-sufficiency, do we need food for our light body? No, you need light, you need electricity. So if you all are coming awake, illuminating yourself, then you are no longer gonna be needing the things of this world, because the things of the dream, because when your light is on, you have to move from this dream and move out of this dream. See what I'm saying? So the I and I will provide for all that the I need in alignment with the I want true pure self, right? This is very important. I want the I and I to know that this week has been a very, very challenging week. Like right now, I have a duality on me from the cosmos, one of the cosmic beings, beating me up like crazy. Like right now, it's shooting this protons, magnetic energy through this body, like to my arm. Even yesterday, I couldn't move my neck. They was beating up on this head like crazy, shooting protons, magnetic energy, because they are magnetic beings, shooting magnetic energy through this body like so much. I mean, I was so sick yesterday. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do this video today. but the self has revived me so that I am here to do this. I can even hold my head up, neck, and turn it, and all this. I mean, like right now, they are shooting the magnetic energy through my shoulders, through my neck, to my back right now as I am talking. You know what I'm saying? So these dualities are the ones that have been directing those human beings and telling them how what to build and all of these things that they are building. Give them all of these information because they want to keep us in the dream and rule. Remember, everything that the human beings are doing is always from one of these gods, from one of these dualities. So I haven't figured out if this is Enki. So this is actually Enki that's doing this right now. So between Enki and Set, I have been brutalized for the past 2 days. And so um the like I said last week, there's alignment. They're merging with our world. Um so the cosmos is merging with us. And so this is what is happening right now. So that's why Enki is on me, and Enki is the twin to Enil. Enil is the parent to Aten Ra, to this to Amen. So remember that they are all fragmented like we are. So all the masculine is separate from the feminine. So Enil, feminine, is the primal light, manifest self, and that is, you can say, the grandmother self, because her baby self is Aten Ra, who is this world that we are in. She makes herself replica, who's Ra, who becomes the world. And so these are all these alignments that's happening, and believe me, everything that is happening in this world is also happening in this body, because they are brutalizing me. You have no idea the suffering I have to go through. And so, but many ones, they do not care about this because they are into the ego, and they are exploring as the dream characters. And so they don't care. They're only in alignment to the consciousness, the moon. That's why you see they're all doing moon worshiping and doing their rituals, moonlit night, and doing all of these things. This is the consciousness, the moon. I want to make this very clear that the moon is the consciousness that governs the world, this sleeping, dreaming consciousness. That's why consciousness is not self sufficient, because its light is being obscure and consciousness needs light. And so the I self wants to ease the consciousness from its suffering so that the light can be restored back onto this consciousness, so balance will be restored. And so all of these egos in the world, they don't know this truth, that this is what the I self want to do. The I self want this consciousness, this with impurity in the mind, to heal this mind, this consciousness. And they are fighting a war because this consciousness is crazy, and it does not realize that the self is trying to restore its light. Why? Because the consciousness is in a sleeping, dreaming state. It has no awareness at all. So the self is fighting a battle with this consciousness to restore light back to it. Before the light can be restored back onto the consciousness, all of the supreme selves who are wearing it must be pulled off of them. Like when I say supreme self, I mean they supreme, meaning they're bigger than us. So like Enki, Enil, Anu, and their all of their selves, um the consciousness has to be pulled off of them because they are wearing this device. This is the only way that the self is going to be able to restore balance to the moon, right? To the consciousness, to for it to be self illuminating. All right. Everyone have to have their own light, right? You must be self sustaining, right? And so move yourself from this duality state so you can be self-sustaining, so you can have your own light. All right. And so I want to just on the next slide talk about what is the lineage of how the I self arise. And so on this screen we have here the baby primal light self consciousness, amen, the masculine of Aten Ra. So so our world, our world, the what science call the black hole of this world, because each of the existence is a black hole or is the void. So the void self, the blackness of this world is Aten Ra, and her masculine is Amen. Right? Remember, at this level, we are fractal, we are fragmented. So the masculine and feminine, they were separated. But now Aten Ra um, and Amen is now unified as one so that they can restore balance and light back onto all of their selves. So all the selves that rise from them, these are the selves. So from the primal light Aten Ra, she has always been She has always been illuminated. She has been taking many forms, like in India, they are familiar with her by calling her Brahman, because because she was a feminine, because she's a feminine, and Amen is a masculine, and he was sleeping, right? He was sleeping, and so he wanted also to enslave her in the dream so he could keep the dream going. And so whenever she would come in the world, she would wear a disguise. So she would use her light, which and she would transform herself in a masculine way. And and so this is when she would come in as Brahman, and so she disguised herself, and no one was able to tell that she was feminine. So this is why when any illuminated ones came and she come to them, they always think that she was a masculine, but she has always been the feminine. But because I am her personal baby self, when I came illuminated, she came to me as herself. She didn't come to me as Brahman, and so this was after a word that she also came to me in the Brahman form, and this is how I knew her separately from herself than when she was wearing the disguise as Brahman. But now she dissolved that self. She no longer comes as Brahman, because she was only doing that because she couldn't come into the world to like to any human beings without having a disguise, because if she come as a feminine, her masculine selves would fight war with her. So now she have Amen on her, so they are joined together now. um Aten Ra and Amen is joined together now. So no, she no longer have to pretend to be masculine, so that they wouldn't fight. Because when she pretend that, using her light to pretend to be a masculine, she would be strong enough to fight with them. So she would use her consciousness to create that avatar. And this is how she was, but she's no longer in that avatar. Now she can be her feminine self, and be in alignment with her masculine self. And so now they are the selves that is moving our world into balance. So their self that rise from them, there's three major self, masculine and feminine. So the from Primalite Aten Ra, my mommy self, our parent self, because all of the self called the soul arise from her. All right. So is Nut that plays the sky. So you see all that the firmament up there, that is Nut. Nut is playing that role. And so they've been trying to break the firmament, because we know that this world is a dream and everyone is encased in the dream. Even the gods them could not escape out of here. This is why they teach the human beings, their clones, how to make these missiles and things so that they can shoot them to break the firmament so that they can go out into the aspect of the self so that they can steal the light, because all they wanted was to get to those galaxies with the light so that they could steal the light, and they could not get to those self because Nut, that is the self of Aten Ra, she is the firmament. All right. And Supreme Ra is the self of her that plays the role of the world. All right. And the primal guru self is the teacher self that is in every one of us. She makes baby self, and within every self, every one of us, the real selves, into the clones and in the world, they do not have this teacher guru self. This is the dilemma they face. That's why they can never know truth. And that's why they're doing such ignorant things. So the teacher guru self within is within all of the self. That's why I say that we already come equipped with everything that we need. We just have to access our teacher guru self, because Aten Ra made sure that everything that we need, she is our mommy self. She is the one that equipped us with everything that we need from her so that we can return back to our truth when we have forgotten ourselves. No, the primal guru self, masculine, is known in the world as Osiris, and it is Shiva Shambho. For those who follow the Indian culture, um, that is the same as Shiva Shambho. That is Osiris. All right, and the the Supreme Ra, her her masculine self is Set, aka the devil, the chaos of the world. And so I want you to know this truth, right? And these are all the I and I selves, all right? And then the next self is Nut, and her masculine is what is known in the world as Archangel Gabriel, all right? And so, and each of these selves, they make they also make baby selves that explore in the world for them. Every one of these selves above us, they have a baby self in the world, because every self have to get the experience of the body so that there will be no more curiosities about this duality, so that they can get the understanding of how to be a human being. And so this is why some of the gods them have some kind of sympathy for for some of the humans, because they have their baby self that come into the world, and but some of them refused and they never come to have a human experience. And so all of these have a baby cell, but only their feminine was able to come in the world to have the experience, but the masculine self stays as a duality, as one of those infamous gods doing a lot of crazy things that people call on. All right. So I am not going to talk on all of the selves of all of these selves of Aten Ra, but Geb is one of the self of the primal guru self. Um, this is one of her self replica. So Ra is Ra self replica, Amun Ra, and also Saturn. And the Nut is one called Ancient of Days. Um, there's another self I can't remember at the moment. I have a different chart that I updated, but so with for Aten Ra now, her her non-dual consciousness, the consciousness of the world, the moon that we see, arise from Aten Ra's consciousness. Because remember, I said this is her world. She's making all of these herself to be in the world who are playing all the different characters. So Brahma is the moon. Brahma is the moon, is the consciousness, the duality consciousness, and is the twin to um the scientists call the consciousness of Aten Ra Betelgeuse. This is what, but they don't know that it is the light, um the consciousness of Aten Ra, right? This is her mind, right? And so she gives this duality consciousness to her self replica Ra, and so Ra becomes the duality world, right? She's building the world, she's using the sleeping, dreaming mind, while Aten Ra is using her consciousness, the non dual, to balance everything that Ra mind is creating. Because remember that this consciousness, this is a replica of this one. The duality consciousness arises from the pure consciousness. And so this is why Aten Ra right now, she wants her duality consciousness to light to be restored back onto it. But all of these clone characters in the dream, they do not understand this. They are fighting a war against the I self, shooting missiles and doing a lot of crazy things because they want to break the dome so that these crazy gods can go out to steal light when they already have light. It is just being obscured behind them, and she just have to pull the consciousness off of them so that their light can be restored. And then for the consciousness, she just have to turn back their light on. This is what she have to do for the consciousness, but she cannot do turn the light on the consciousness on until all of herself, all of these gods, all of them, Anubis, Jesus, Allah. I want you to know that Anubis is Set, Allah is Set. These are his selves. All right, and all of the gods, them, this consciousness have to be pulled off of them. And so, even all of the selves above Aten Ra, they are also wearing this duality consciousness to come into the dream, because herself Ra is dreaming up the world, and anyone want to enter in, they have to wear this duality consciousness. This is the problem, to pull it back off of one's. And so right now, the I self want to move us to a light being. And these ignorant fools do not understand this. They want to stay in this duality, dreaming, sleeping state, and don't understand that the time is here now for this consciousness, for the light to be restored back onto the consciousness, for the moonlight to be restored, for all the human beings to know that they are not human beings, but they are the void, the blackness, the self, what they call black hole, animating a body, and to move to this truth. This is the problem with this ignorance when you don't know yourself. No, like I said, all the the fractal baby selves, all that's called the souls, they are the baby of Aten Ra and Amen. Amen is the father self. All of the masculine, they rise from Amen. All of the feminine, they rise from Aten Ra. But Ra herself is the one that becomes a surrogate mother. So everyone have to go through Ra. It's like Ra become the vagina that everyone have to be born through herself to come into this world. This is what is happening, and this is why Ra herself is illuminated, because the sun that we see that illuminates the world, that is Ra self. It's just her mind, the consciousness that is sleeping and in dreaming state. She always tells me that she cannot control her mind. Her mind is always fighting against her, and her masculine self set, who we know in the world as the AKA the devil, the infamous devil, is her masculine self. So while she is trying to make balance, he is fighting against her, and her consciousness is fighting against her. And so I have met her when she wear the consciousness. This was when I just came into my self truth, and she came to me with the consciousness, and this was how I learned about her when she's in herself, different from when the consciousness obscure her and she no longer have self-awareness. So I get to experience all of the I selves in all the different forms, right? And so I want to so here on this slide, it's just to again, it's just to reiterate what I just said about Aten Ra, the feminine, Amen, her masculine, and all herself that she makes. She brings into being the primal guru, teacher self, Ra and Nut, and their masculine is Shiva Shambho, which is the primal guru self. Supreme Ra, masculine is Set, Nut is Archangel Gabriel. Supreme Ra is the feminine and Set the masculine. They make also self replicas. So it's Amun Ra that she becomes the invisible world that is below the earth, and is also very icy, because remember the ocean is also ourselves. I want you to know that every aspect of this existence is the self playing these roles. um, and so this world is designed that we can never escape it. There's ice, water everywhere. There's water atop us, and there is water. We are in water. So I want you to know that we are inside of the water. The water is surrounding this land, the landform that rise. All right, and below the water is another, the other self, who is Ra, who is Amun Ra, and then below that is ice, ice, ice. They're drilling, 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 and they can never get through that thickness. All right, so there is no escape for them. And her masculine is Anubis, aka Jesus, and who has been deceiving everyone by um, stealing their souls and imprisoning the souls, and telling, spreading propaganda and lies. And then her Supreme Ra other self is Saturn, and she's the one that was the AKA the Holy Ghost, the one that would come in people's body, and they would do the getting into spirit. That was Saturn that was doing that. And then her masculine is Tehudi, who plays aka Allah. And you see, like I said, these are all the masculine, these are sets. This is Set. Anubis, Jesus is Set. Allah is also Set. Right? This Allah and Jesus, they're twins because they are the self of Set, who plays the devil. These self of Set a little bit milder than him. And so my myself and Shiva are the baby self, the personal self of Aten Ra and Amen. I also serve as the personal self of Ra and Set. Also, um, when I came to my self knowing, this was what I was. I first met with Ra, and she told me that I was her baby self. I was herself, but I'm the personal self of Aten Ra, and Aten Ra and Ra is the same self. So Ra does not have a separate baby self from Aten Ra, and um, and so the primal teacher guru self, the self of Aten Ra, her two masculine feminine self is Geb, who plays the visible world that we are in, and Oshun, um, and her primal guru self is Shiva Shambho, and his masculine self is known as Metatron, Enoch, and Archangel Michael, and his baby self um, is the first Buddha, the masculine, and the Buddha Gautama, and Nut, that is the other self of Aten Ra, the feminine, and um, Nut masculine is Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel. I don't know their other names. These are just the names that when I met them, this is what they are called. And so whatever they're called at that time is what how I meet them and how they introduce themselves, so that I can identify who they are based on what people are calling them. And the Nut feminine is ancient of um, our feminine self is ancient of days, and her masculine is Krishna, and our other self is Mercury, and the masculine for Mercury is Apollo, and the baby self of Nut was Nefertiti, but is in a human body right now, and the masculine of Gabriel is one of the gods they call Olubatala. So, like I said, the masculines, they never come into the world and take any form because they did not want to take the human form. But the feminine self, they come into the world in the human form. All right, and so I am going to on the next play show you how the self, the soul rise. So all of the selves, um, who are the baby of Aten Ra. And like I said, you every one of them comes through Ra. She's the surrogate mother um, for us. And so one self in the world, they're making many different self, like a tree. Like you have one tree, um, like a seed, and then you plant that seed, and then you have many fruits on the tree. So this is what the soul seeds are. So in the world right now, all of these spirit selves who are animating the body, um are all rise many ones rise from one self called the soul. All right, and so you have masculine and feminine. And so this is why we have so many human beings in the world. And so to be self-sufficient, the I have to merge with the I masculine, the self-consciousness, and the I feminine have to merge as one. The baby self, that The I makes a baby self called the spirit, which is, these all of these selves, and the one soul make the baby self, and this is all this many selves in the world. And so, why the baby self called a spirit must be awakened, all right? Because the mind, the ego, is sleeping and dreaming. When you awake, this is how you exist. The self rises up to pull the self to one side and pull the consciousness to the next side and put the void come between. Remember that the void is the I self. The void come between as a buffer between the self and the consciousness. The consciousness remain in the sleeping, dreaming state, while the baby self, called the spirit, is now illuminating, and it's now aligned with itself, called the soul. And eventually, it will merge into the self, called the soul, and will no longer exist. Only the self called the soul must will exist, and you will be illuminated like I am. So that self, that spirit self that I was existing as, no longer exists, right? So I am now the self called the soul self, um, called Auset Mahat. All right. So the mind knows, the mind must know, right? Because when once this happened, the mind knows that it is not a self, because at the moment the mind is thinking that it is a self, right? The mind must know that it is not a self but only a mind, and must only play that role. When your baby self first come to explore the dream world, the ego, the mind trick the I and I. So, do you know that you are sleeping and dreaming? So it is time for the I and I to wake up, giving reverence to the I one true self. It is time to wake up. Sure. So I'm just reading this. Can you speak more on the method used to find your inner guru or higher self? Yes. It is through self inquiry that the questions that you ask, it's going because the self is entranced in the dream, it is going to get the self start thinking and asking, self inquiring of itself. Who am I? How do I come into being? What is the source of my existence? Am I sleeping? Am I inside of a dream? These questions are very important. And also, when thought arises, you say, from where does this thought arise? Who is the seer? Who is the speaker? This is also going to get the mind to seek itself, because once now you are telling the mind that it is not a self, it is only a mind. The mind has created an avatar and think that this avatar is the real, because you see all the characters, it's thinking that it is that. Whatever the mind creates, it think that it itself. And so the self interrogation helps the self to come awake, because the mind is going to seek itself. It's going to turn around because the self is actually being obscure behind the mind. The mind has taken center stage of the self. All right. And so, because the mind has taken center stage of the self, the questioning now ignites something within the self, because everything that you need is already come programmed. So the questioning is going to ignite the self, and this is what arises the teacher guru self to answer your question. And the teacher guru self rises up to answer your question and also to pull the ego off of you, because it is the destiny of the teacher guru self to do this, because the self soul cannot do this by itself. It's not equipped, because it is in the void, and this is the void self that's going to, with that power, is more bigger than the self soul. And so this is how the teacher guru self will rise up. Keep asking these questions and have a sincere um, seeking, wanting to know and wanting to denounce attachment to all the dream characters. The I must be, see, like how the mind will make you obsessed about things of the world or stuff. That must be your only desire, to be liberated, to wanting to know truth. um I think the next time I will put up a denouncement. I think I might have already have it on one of my videos, that you denounce ties to the dream, to all the dream characters, because now you know and realize that all is yourself playing this role, and now you just want to dissolve this character that you are playing, the ego false self, and to just be yourself. So I hope I answered that question, and I can also make a short video just answering that question with enough slides with the things that you can say. I think I could do that also. So, giving reverence to the I self called a soul. This is very important. Do you love yourself? Because many ones there, the ego gets ones obsessed about love, but there's only one love that one needs to have. Is for the I self, to liberate the I self from slavery. Do you love yourself enough to want to liberate yourself from slavery? The I and I is in slavery, and many ones are more concerned about all these egos and pleasures. Why? Because your mind is the confusion. So, who honors and give reverence to the I self, called the soul? So, it is time for I, instead of calling on gods, because yourself, the soul, is equipped to help you. Because the teacher guru self, where is the teacher guru self? It's not in the spirit self. No, it's in the soul self. So, only when your self soul is in the body with you can this happen. The teacher guru self rises from the self called the soul. The soul is awake. The soul have light. The soul is not wearing this consciousness. This is why the gods them can steal it and do the craziness and enslave it, because its light is on and they use it for their light. But when the gods have your soul, the teacher guru self cannot rise. You can call from now till here till tomorrow and it will not work for you. The soul, sorry, this duality is getting in my throat because it doesn't want me to say this. So, so, so that I have to call back the I self, call the soul into the I body, because the teacher guru self is in the void. The self is anchored into the void self, and the the self soul actually does not move by itself, because the I self knew that this was going to be a crazy world. So that's why the self soul is anchored into the void, and the void is the I self, is the blackness, right? The self soul is anchored into the void, and this is how the soul you're equipped with everything that you need. Call, call call on yourself, the soul, so that You can liberate yourself from self ignorance. The I self is working tirelessly to make alignment with the I sleeping baby self to dissolve the ego false self. See things from the I self experience, see things from your soul experience. Have you ever asked the I self soul to tell the truth? Ask yourself, say, I seek to know the truth. Soul, where are you? Tell me the truth. I want to know. Who wants to end this dream world experience? I do. My hand is up first. I want to end this dream world experience. I no longer want to exist in a sleeping, dreaming world, in a sleeping, dreaming state, because this consciousness is crazy. It loses its mind, it becomes impure and very imbalanced, right? The I want you pure self cannot dwell into this very low vibration. The I want you process, pure self, want to connect with all the I and I's. The I want you pure selves can never connect with any of these selves. That is, if you are not aligned with your soul. The way you connect to the I want you pure self is through yourself, the soul. Sorry. You can see these dualities are messing with me, right? So now they're messing up with my tongue. So the I want you pure self can connect with you through yourself, called the soul, because it is pure. Yourself is pure and never committed one sin. Only this ego false self that you are in. The gods have lied to you because they want to hold your soul in slavery so that they can keep this dream going, because they want light and they have a sick mind. This is why the I self is here to restore all of their lights, to restore the light on the consciousness so that we can move to self sufficiency, so we can move to self sustaining ourselves with our light, because all we need is light. So remember that the I gave the earth is in tremendous pain and suffering and wants to end her suffering. Just imagine that you are playing the role of the earth, making the food for all the human beings and all of this. How many eons you've been playing this role, and the human beings have been so cruel, so horrible, all the atrocities. You don't want for her to wake up. You don't want for her to stop playing this role. She's in suffering. She wants to wake up from her pain and suffering. And y'all want to keep her because this ego is selfish. She's in suffering and wants to be liberated from her suffering. Just like yourself, the soul has been enslaved by all the gods and want to be liberated from the I suffering. The I want you pure self is also in suffering, is crying because of the state of all the I self that is in here. The souls are crying out to the I self, come and save me, come and help me. The I self cannot come into the dream like this. All of the self have to wake up because these gods will capture the self. You think that the one true pure self can come into this? No, these gods will capture the self. The self is so pure. So if all of ourselves above us do not come in alignment, the self cannot communicate to us, the one true pure self. It's through all of the self that is above that has to first make alignment, and all of the ego has to be pulled off of them. So I want to reiterate that the I and I do not belong inside some dream crazy world. Don't hold on to this world. We are moving to balance. We are moving, restoring our light for self-sufficiency. I know they have been holding us deprived and depraved, wanting to say that they want to produce all our food into their laboratory so that they can control us, so we can go into pods and they can enslave our souls for another millennia. But this is not happening. We must say we don't care about what you want to do, because we will not allow you to enslave us. We will fight for our liberation. Know that. Align with yourself, soul, and you will see the power that you have. They will not be able to come and touch you. Wake yourself, and you will become invisible to them, because I am moving around them. Many of them, I am invisible to them. Yeah, they were mopping me before. They were mopping me before. I used to have the helicopters flying over me all the time. Yeah, but they cannot come close to I right now, because all of the ionize are surrounding this world right now. So, and any evil thought they have to do I harm, will be just reversed back to them, because no harm will come to I. And I reverse it back onto them. Whatever anyone planned for me, I reverse it back to them. So make sure you have good thoughts, so that will be reversed to you. So I just want to remind all the INIs that you are here animating this game. You're in a life movie. You're wearing a game console. This is why they have created those virtual reality world, so that the I self can explain and show you how we are entrapped inside of this dream. Also, to a movie screen is the same thing, because this is a life movie that we are in. We are the characters, and the movie is reeling, right? So that's why when scientists are looking, they are looking at the past. They're looking at all of the selves that is portraying all aspect of the movie from the beginning. They just don't see the total end, but they do see the destruction of the world, but they don't see the full end of the movie. We are moving to light body, y'all. So don't be afraid. Don't follow their propagandas and their lies. These gods, the consciousness, remember, the consciousness is the main culprit, has been spreading lies, and many ones are worshiping this consciousness, talking about Christ consciousness, Allah consciousness, Yeshua consciousness, Yahweh consciousness, Elohim consciousness, Elohim consciousness, whatever the consciousness. Know that it is a deceiver. All right? So do not trust them, because yourself is light, and you just have to restore your light. And so till the I self can restore us to our ultimate state, and move us from this state of needing something outside of ourselves, because this body needs food to produce the light that we need. The body is producing light. Remember this. When we move from this body, we will no longer need to eat food, because we are already going to be producing our own light. See what I'm saying? So don't listen to them. They are liars. They spread propagandas, because they want those dream characters. All of these dream characters, they can only exist inside of the dream, because they rise in the game. They rise in the dream, in the movie screen. They rise here. Only the real self can exit the dream. The dream characters that you are playing want is holding you hostage in the dream. Stop holding attachment to these characters. These dream characters in the games as the avatars. Are they real? You see these bodies coming and going. You see them coming and going. You're coming in a body. Tomorrow, today you're here. Tomorrow you're not here. Why are you holding attachment to these characters, wanting to keep this body forever? Why you want to keep this body forever? We are moving to self-sustaining. We gonna move into light being. Why you want to keep these bodies for? This consciousness do not know the truth, and it's telling everyone lies. Stop holding on to this dream and these dream characters. Let's move and move to our light body. Right? Remember that you are an avatar inside the game of life. The I is just playing a character in the game of life who is sleeping and needs to wake up. It is the I self. Wake up, wake up, wake up, so you can stop playing this character in the game. All of the I real selves must wake up, because all of these characters, they rise from you, from your imagination, and they must return back onto you. No one is gonna be lost, because these characters, they rise from you in the dream. They rise from you in the dream. They are your imagination creation that rise from you, that must return back onto you. They will not be lost. They return back to you and never and will not exist anymore. Only you will exist. You will move to a light body. Stop holding on to these characters. You know how many inside of this dream belong to you? One self called the soul have so many dream characters. This is the problem. See all of these human beings? Believe me, I don't even know the small percentage that is only a real self. Everyone else is a dream character, a clone that rise in the dream. They must be returned back unto you that which they rise from. Only the I self is real in the dream. These dream characters want to hold you inside of this dream. It's time now to know this truth. Stop holding attachment to dream characters. Know that everything that you have been taught is a lie. Know that the I mind is the first liar and the greatest deception. How many times your mind have told you things that is not true, and you still want to impose your delusional mind and your delusional ideas on others? This is what these governments are doing. They think that because they thought of it, it is true, and they must impose it on others. You do not need no government. We are moving for self-sufficiency, self-sustaining, where you have your compass that balances and guide you. You know the right thing to do. You don't need no governor over you. This is where we are moving to, and they don't want to give up their powers, but they have no choice. Do you need a governor over you? You don't know how to govern yourself? We are moving to light bodies, okay? So let's get going with this. I'm tired of this duality already. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Where does the I allegiance lie? I allegiance is only to I want you, pure self. I am against this ego and all the I ego false self. I am here to dissolve I ego and I ego false selves. I parent self will dissolve the I supreme ego, this consciousness, to end the dream state and destroy this dream world. Stop holding attachment to this dream, and let's move already to where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be moving for self-sufficiency, for self-sustaining ourselves. We don't need nothing outside of ourselves. Do you know who you are? Do you know how powerful you are? This body is producing light. You are light. Let's move to light already. Stop holding attachment to this dream and this dream world. I'm tired of this suffering that I'm in. These gods beating me up day in, day out because they don't want me to speak truth and bring the truth to all the I and I's. I denounce all ties to this ego and all the I ego false selves. And know that I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I am not even afraid of the gods, them. I used to be, but now I am no longer afraid. I am not afraid of the Ionites, any of the ego fossils wearing human body who like to do evil things. Because, like I said, this is my commandment that whatever you think that you're going to do to me will be done to you. All right? So think very careful before you try to say that you're what you want to do to I. I am primal light, I am sovereign, and I am self-determined. I take command of I self-determination, and I denounce all government. I am the governor over I self. I am exempt from your rules and laws. I perform the will of the I want you pure self. I and I, the one true pure self, will must be done. I command that all the I and I to awake from the sleeping, dreaming state. Consciousness, it's time to awake to end this dream, this horrendous nightmare. It's time for the I light to be restored, for the I to be self sufficient and stop acting crazy and stupid. Everything I have created, I demolish. I want to repeat this. Everything that I have created, I demolish. I dissolve this dream existence. I dissolve this dream existence. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I return to my ultimate true state. Why don't you want to return to your ultimate true state? Why are you so attached to this dream and these dream characters? Let's move to light already. Let's illuminate ourselves already. Stop holding to this ridiculous consciousness so light can be restored to this consciousness. It's time now. All is myself, and I am one with all, and I alone exist. I alone exist. You must be saying this, that I alone exist, because you must look at everyone and see that it is yourself. I alone exist. I. It is me everywhere I look. It is I. I alone exist. Stop putting separation, you letting this consciousness put separation between you and all the I and I selves. It is all you. Everyone in this world, every character, it is you playing those roles. Take command and take responsibility. Liberation from all slavery and tyranny. Liberation from self-slavery. Liberation from this soul slavery. I stand against all bullies. Liberation from all spells and curse and trance. Liberation from all self-ignorance. Liberation from all mind control. Liberation from all duality, sleeping, dreaming state, from this false self-identity. Liberation from all sleeping and dreaming. It's time for all the I and I's to wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to return to light. It's time now. It's time now to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining. You will not need anything outside of yourself. Everything that you need, you can produce. Like I said, this body, everything that you eat is producing light. This body is fighting daily to produce light. Light, if you produce enough, it's beaming off of you. They have their tools, they're measuring how much light you are producing. You want to be self-sustaining, so no one can take food and manipulate you and say, oh, you want food, you have to do this evil to get food. You are producing your own food, your light. This body is already showing us that all the process that we are doing is just to produce light. Turn your light on already. Liberation from all this sleeping and dreaming state. As I have commanded, this is my commandment. So let it be, so it is. Mind, be still. Be still and know that I am in command. I am in command of the commandment command. I'm telling you, take responsibility, because the problem is that you do not know yourself. And so this is why they are ruling us with this tyranny, and you're not taking command. This is a very powerful affirmation to be chanting. I'm telling you, all the things I put up is very important that the I and I are chanting these things, so that it gives you that confidence in yourself, because this mind wants to tell you things, so you don't have confidence in yourself, believe in yourself, and know that you are all. Yeah, I want the I and I to remember that the mind is thought, memory, imagination, and very habitual. Don't let anyone trick you about this consciousness. All right? This consciousness is a liar. I know they have been spreading this rumor, and everyone is giving reverence to consciousness. All you need is your light, right? All you need is your light. You do not need no higher levels of consciousness. None of those things. It is all a lie. You only need your light to be restored back. Your light is turned off. This is the problem. Why must I practice mind stillness? Because this mind is a tainted baby consciousness. The mind is tainted with impurities. Memory replays sick imaginations, prone to mental sickness, and destructive ideologies that instigate cruel actions. The mind is very deceptive. Know that the mind is this duality consciousness, is known as the ego. The mind is very deceptive and does not know the truth. Because if the mind did know the truth, why we would be in so much confusion? This mind, this mind don't know truth. The mind do not know the truth, only knows about the dream, the creation of the what's happening in this dream. That's it. Because it is what is creating the things them in the world. So the mind know about it. So when all of these scientists and these ones, they know about the dream, and so they think that they are so smart and so wise, but they don't know nothing about that, nothing about their real self. Every evil begins in the mind. Every evil begins in the mind, down to the youngest child that I have spoken to, the 4-year-olds, the 5-year-olds. They already know this. And you, big human beings, the little human beings, they know this, and you don't know it. Every evil begins in the mind before it is acted out into the world. Stillness purifies my mind. Stillness arises the supreme teacher within to pull this ego off of the I, the baby self called a spirit. This is why you do stillness, so that you can still your mind, and so yourself, the teacher guru self, can rise up to liberate you from your self ignorance and pull this consciousness off of the baby self. All right, know this truth. From that which I rise, to that I return. I am the all. I am the black energy. I am the black nutrient. All is I am all. I am the blackness. I want all the I and I to come to term with this, for all the I and I who are prejudiced against the blackness. You are the blackness, the void, animating a human body. Okay? Know this truth. Okay, can we ever fully awaken while in the body, or will will that mean that the end of this world, or at least this version of it? Yes, you can. I am fully awakened in the body. So, like I explained in the prior slide, you just have to want to know. So the baby self of the soul is animating the body, and so they have to align. So when they align together, this is how um, you come awake from the teacher guru self, arises from the self called the soul, because it's in the void. The soul is inside of the void, and they move together like that, and the void only comes to rises up the only rises up from stillness when you call. You have to call. The soul must be in the body with you. You cannot give it to any god. It must be in the body, and you are going to call yourself from yourself soul, that you want to know the truth. I seek to know myself truth. Who am I? um, how did I come into being? What is the source of my existence, allowing me this world experience? You're going to ask the question, am I inside of a dream? Is this world a dream? Am I sleeping? Am I dreaming? You ask all these questions, and then you're going to say affirmation to yourself like, i am I am formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, to affirm this with yourself, because the mind is telling you that you are a dream character. The mind is telling you that you are not formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, that you're going to die and all of these things. And so it's a whole process. Also, eventually one has to go through the death experience, so that while you are in awareness, so you know that you are not this body, and you get to see that with a conscious awareness, with that when you leave the body and come back into the body with awareness, and see um how you get pulled out of the body and come back alive in the body. This The self will do this for you, so that you can see that. So I mean, all this stuff happened with I when I asked what is that, and I wanted to know what the process was when I leave this body, and the self made it happen to I. I mean, you have to be prepared for this, because it's very traumatic to the mind. The mind is it does not know the truth, and that's why the questioning of the self, the experiences, because the baby self called the spirit, when you ask this question yourself, the soul is going to come, and the self have to rise up, because it has to rise up and tell the mind that i am I am in command. This has to happen. It's a process. When this process happened for myself, I didn't even, at that, it was years ago, and I did not understand it. And I this volts of electricity just start shooting through the body, and the self just rise up to tell the mind, that this says, it says, because the self that I was called Jasmine. So it says, Jasmine, I am. This was how that was the baby self, the spirit self. That was what it was called, and it just rise up to let the mind know this. And there was volts of electricity. This was when it rise up and wake. It has to do this, so that this mind, this consciousness, now it takes command, because right now the mind is the one that's in command. And it might happen for you differently. That was how it happened for me. so that it shook the mind so that I could see that, ooh, I was like, what is this? And back then I did not really know. I was like, who is this God? But it was myself. So, because that it was saying that to the mind, you know. So it's when you are not like knowing a lot of things, when things are happening, when you're questioning yourself and things are happening to you, when the self is rising up and taking command, and so that the mind then it becomes scary for the mind, you know. And it was like volts. When I said volts of electricity, was just like fusing through the um the body, because the self soul is electrical, and it was fusing the spirit self that I was at the time, with electricity, you know. And so it might happen for you differently, but that was how that happened for I, so that the mind, this consciousness, could know that it is no longer in command, you know. So saying the affirmations, they really help. um so yeah. So anyways, from that which I rise, to that I return. Remember that the I is the void, the blackness that is animating a body. That I have never seen the I self, what the I self look like animating this body. The I is light, the I is getting ready to move from this state of being this human being in this body to moving to a light body. So don't hold any attachment, be ready and prepare yourself to move to the next stage, that where we must move to. Don't let them hold you in ignorance. I am stillness. I am that I am. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. So right now within the I body, this duality has calmed down from how it was behaving prior. So I give thanks for that, because sometimes I have to just make my voice louder and stand up to this duality. Oh my goodness. I want to thank you tremendously for your time. I am one with all. Be aware that the mind will want to resist, protest, and convince you of all the reason not to do this, not to do something, right? The mind will come to you tomorrow and try to play this off, because this ego does not want to be dissolved. It wants to continue to reign supreme over the self, and the self must rise up and take command. This ego does not want this. You have to fight with your ego, believe me, right? So prepare yourself for battle with your ego and stand your ground. It's gonna try to make you feel like not confident. It will tell you that, oh, I am more powerful than you. It will come up with a lot of stupid nonsense in your mind. So just say, from where does this thought arise? And these are not my thoughts. And you just dissolve these thoughts, right? They're rising from the mind, they're not rising from yourself. Rising from the mind, and I say, mind, you're a liar. You are the mind, and I am the self. You have to talk to this mind, this ego. Know that you are in command. Reinforce to the mind this affirmation: mind, be still. Be still, be still, and know that I am in command. I am in command of the commandment. Command. You are the one giving the commandment. The mind is supposed to carry out your commandment, but this is not how it is. The mind is giving the command, and people are doing everything that their mind tells them. So you want something to manifest in the world, you are speaking it into this mind so it can make it happen for you. But what's happening is the mind is impure, so it's giving all negative thoughts and evil thoughts are rising up, and now the human beings are going out and committing all of these actions. So if you put a stop when this mind is coming up and bringing these thoughts, then you don't have to go out and do these actions. Mind, be still. I dissolve this dream as I have commanded. So let it be. So it is. Know that you are in command and command things. You don't need to pray to God to give you nothing. You command whatever it is that you want. Be self sufficient, self reliant. Command things and make it happen for you. Many ones are still out there praying to God. God has never come to save anyone, only come to imprison yourself. Command what you want. I am stillness. I am that I am. I am formless, timeless, limitless, boundless. I am stabilizing the I self, the unmanifest. I am the self supreme, primal light. I am one with all. All is myself, and I alone exist. I am that I am. I am that can't be explained. I am that has no name. I want I and I to remember that the I self has no name. The I self can't be explained. So anyone showing up to you, this consciousness beings showing up to you, telling you who they are, know that it's a liar. When your self rise within, your teacher guru self will tell you that I am you, I have no name, and it's just doing the job that it was come into existence for, is to be the teacher to you, to teach you about yourself, to pull this ego off of you. Know this truth. So I return to I ultimate true state. I bow to all the I and I's in self, in light, and in truth. I am primal light, prepared for this world, taking this form and identity as Auset Aten Ra. I am that I am. I am the one true self. All is myself, and I am one with all. Much honor. I thank the I and I for the I questions, and I want to just do this vibration. So this is a vibration. This vibration now is as encircled um the the world that we are, and so this is a good vibration to do daily. It also in the aham vibration. So asoham 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 Yes, yes, yes. When you say this vibration, it is always good to spiral the vibration around your body. So, I want to thank the I for the I questions. You can leave me a question or any comments. I will be happy to answer any question and comment. Thank you so much for joining thank you so much, and I'll see you guys at the next satsang with Auset. And if you would like me to talk about another topic pertaining to the world, the self, um, then I can talk about it. I don't know everything about the duality world. I know about the all of the I selves in the different aspect of the selves. I know all about that because all of the selves they come to they come in this body, they introduce themselves to I. So this is how I know all of the I self in all the different myriads of ways that the self is expressing. So may all beings know the I self. Thank you so much. I bow to I in self, in light and truth. Thank you. Much honor. Yes, I. So I'm just going to be closing out with a salutation to the I want you self. Salutation to the neutral self, primal life. Hail, hail. Salutation to our parent self, primal life. Hail, hail. Salutation to I self supreme, primal life.